What's up, you filthy casuals? Welcome to the Casual Shenanigans Gaming Podcast, a podcast all about everything PC gaming related. I'm one of your hosts, Germ Gaming, and tonight I am joined by the wild card, Joel.
Hey, folks.
The not-so-evil Viking 13.
Folks is my word, Joel.
And James the Grey. That's like Gandalf. Like Gandalf, James.
That piece was more of like and the fingers going away.
Wait, you did that. You're like, and the fingers going away. I'm pointing up.
Joel.
Good time, Joel.
Oh my. Okay, so anyway, welcome to the show. Tonight is a big episode. It's our 80th episode. Does anyone have anything profound you want to say just because it happens to be an even number?
James is turning 80 soon.
He's got at least another 25 years in him, you jerk. James, I'm your real friend. But the whole gang's back together again. Everyone hasn't been together for like 2 weeks now. Yeah. So welcome back, everybody. James, you look positively livid, but I'm happy you're here.
James, you don't understand, man. You're the lucky one because you're going to hit retirement just in time for Fallout 4 and Half-Life 3. You're just going to be there with your pudding and Half-Life 3. I mean, that's the life.
He still has nothing to say. He's just glaring at the screen. And for anyone just listening to the audio version, you missed some great physical comedy there. But yeah, it's our 80th episode, and we've got like a bunch of announcements and stuff going on this evening. We actually have like no main topic tonight. Tonight is all news and special stuff.
Catch up.
The first bit of special news is you'll no longer hear the A10 warthog sound of my old phone vibrating against my desk.
That's a very descriptive term, actually.
It is. That's what it sounds like. But
very accurate.
Yeah, shut up. But I have a new phone that fits my monster size hands, and it is much quieter. So. Bye, James. Thank you for joining us on the podcast. But yeah, so that won't be happening, and hopefully you hear less noise on the recording tonight as well because I've swapped out a couple cables. And anyway, here we go. So Patreon, you probably know what it is because we won't shut up about it because we like money. But Patreon is a website where you can pledge money to support us, and it pays for cool projects like the Potato Masher. It pays for cool things like something we're announcing tonight that I almost just said now, ruining the surprise of it later. But yeah, it pays for lots of cool things. Not to mention it pays for the podcast expenses, which aren't a lot, but they are there. So
all that booze.
All that booze.
It fuels our live podcast.
I haven't had a beer, dude, in a week and a half. And
I'm getting the shakes. Like,
no, I'm not.
He's not Debbie.
Oh man, I was debating, like, do we make that joke?
Oh no, I
was about to let it go.
I'll just send Debbie more pictures of her cat when she was a kitten and I was babysitting the cat, and I'll be good. It's easy.
She's probably right now going, curse you. Well, he's not wrong. But yeah, I'm excited for Super Bowl Sunday this Sunday. I don't really care about football, but I'm excited because I'll be eating carbs again, and I got some beers waiting for me.
On that day, oh, you're doomed.
Well, I figured it had to be that day because snacks. Because people are bringing cupcakes and things, and
no,
I'm not
that's
going to
what
be
I mean,
like,
dude.
oh, no
you
sugar.
can eat like 5,000 calories that day. You're gonna feel awful on Monday.
I'm not gonna. Well,
I know I would.
Well, see, I'm at the point in low carb where I'm just not hungry. Like today, I had a 3-egg omelet, and I feel stuffed. That's what all I've eaten
nice.
today, and I like stomach feels like it's bursting. Whereas a week and a half ago, a 6-egg omelet was like normal, and I'd have that in the protein shake and dinner and lunch and everything else. So. You know, making progress.
A few small children thrown in.
But anyway, back to Patreon. So we have some Patreon people now. Joel, actually, if you could start with the last name on the list. We read his name off last week, but you didn't read his name off, and that's something that everyone who pledges on Patreon looks forward to, is Joel saying their name.
Joel the Butcher.
The last one is there. That's just the whole thing? Because
well, his name is Iain.
Okay. Oh, I know, but I mean, everyone. Okay, never mind.
Yeah. His name is Iain, but we already read off his pledge last week, so he just needs you to give him the special treatment.
So everybody wants.
I kind of was thinking that was actually an L for a second.
An
I
L.
thought his name was Lane.
Oh, it's like a lowercase L.
Yeah. I was like, what the heck? Oh, right. Okay.
See, that's why you're supposed to. That's why you capitalize proper nouns.
Okay. Well.
Don't mind him. He was homeschooled.
Thank you, Lane, for
Ian.
Ian, I know. I was joking.
Oh,
I knew that.
I'm sorry. I gotta let you do your thing.
Thank you, Ian, for whatever you've done. So I don't have a voice for you. I'm just going to talk about you for a few seconds. It would be really funny if that. I mean, like that's it. Just Ian. Like you have no last name, no middle name, just Ian. They're just like, screw. You're probably like the 18th child, so they're just like, I don't even want to work at coming up with more to your name. Just Ian. Probably the kid before you was Ian too. They're just like Ian, all 18 children, same name. Doesn't worry about it.
What the hell are you talking about?
Just
I'm
trying to
reading
create
the chat. I'm reading the chat, and you're just okay.
Yeah, that's about it. So,
Anyway.
do I have to come up with names for the other people?
No, their names are written down there. You actually just have to read them.
You don't have to name anybody, Joel. You can just
Thus,
read them.
the purpose of the notes.
I meant voices. Sorry, not names.
Joel, are you okay tonight?
Joel, how are
buddy?
you doing tonight, buddy? Do we need to talk about you for a minute?
A little shaky. I am freezing right now, like absolutely frigid. I'm grabbing a blanket. It's right here. I'm not moving. I'm grabbing a blanket. All right. Okay. Ben, why did you up your pledge? I'm very curious about that. If you can email us back, why did you up your pledge? Like, what have we given you that you're like, you know what? I want to up my pledge because I'm going to get something more out of it. Are you just giving us more
Joel,
money?
you just refuse to accept that anyone could possibly like this podcast. It just pisses you off, doesn't it?
Well, I just want to be like, which episode was it? You're like, I'm going to give a little bit more money to this podcast.
Actually,
I want to know.
Jeremiah, I've noticed that Joel's been on a tangent recently where he gets really angry when people like things. Like he really
I've noticed that.
He's been taking personal offense to anything that people enjoy, like food, games, movies. And it's really personal to Joel recently. Are you okay, Joel? Are you in a dark place right now?
I didn't say I hate the guy for doing it. I'm just saying I'm curious. Like, who would do that? Like, if you had a podcast, I'm not sure if I would support yours. I mean, I'm just being honest. I mean, maybe. But like, I just like, what was the podcast that really like I am gonna support these guys more? I bet it was. I bet it was
probably last week when we were both missing.
Yeah.
Hey, Dave,
We
you
were just
remember how
talking
when
about
Joel
tech
made that
specs.
movie and both of us like dropped whatever we were doing whenever he needed help and just supported him, not even knowing if the final product would be good, but just because he's our friend and we believe in what he's doing? You remember when we did that and just like didn't like trash him in a public forum?
Yeah.
I remember that. I remember
that.
It's like,
Trashed
I mean,
him
it's been a
privately,
couple,
plenty, but
it's been a couple years now, hasn't
like
it?
the 80 hours of CGI that I've done so far in exchange for tacos? Like that was pretty cool,
You've
right?
told me about it. I just remember a lot of unpaid like weekends in his town, going on road trips with him. I
Yeah.
remember a lot of that. Oh, also, wasn't there like some expensive equipment I lent him because he wanted to use it for filming? I think there was. And
Let's talk
and
about software licenses.
and we somehow managed to avoid trashing him that entire time, didn't we?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Huh, that's interesting.
I mean, I could just do a simple thank you, Ben, for upping your pledge.
Instead,
Yeah,
instead you
I
went on
could
the
do a
opposite
simple
side of the
minutes
fence.
later.
Screw you, Ben. Why are you here?
a special message from Joel. Up your pledge. Up yours.
Very good, very good, very good.
Oh, man.
No,
All right,
thanks,
one
Ben, for
more,
upping your
Joel.
pledge. Okay, last one. I'm gonna try to get this name correct.
Get it correct,
Abdulaziz Jazer. I hope that's it.
Really?
I'm going to guess it's Abdulaziz Jazer, but I think
Yeah,
you were
that
close.
sounds-
That's true. Yeah.
It doesn't. I mean, you tried.
Okay,
That's the
yeah, it's
important
close
thing.
enough. Hey, thank you for pledging.
The funny voice for that one was just Joel trying to read it.
No, you're awesome.
He got hung up on Ian. I mean, there was no hope for this one.
Lane.
It's because I think I'm like so used to working in Photoshop where the eyes, like with fonts, the eyes have the actual little cross at the top. So I was like, Lane, what the kind of name is that? Okay.
Joel, in the chat, Ben says he did it just to piss you off.
Hey, Dave, your video went away. I'm sorry your internet sucks. Work on it. Fix it.
All right.
Okay.
Ben, he doesn't want you to shove it. He wants tell you up yours. Up your pledge.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Now, actually, we're not gonna go on to the potato masher thing. We are going to go on to our announcement for the evening because it relates to Patreon. So, like a week ago, I think, after last week's podcast, a couple of you guys who are listening right now talked and emailed in, and they said, "Hey, we like playing Insurgency. We played some last week. Insurgency is a really fun, tactical, like slower moving Counter-Strike type game. It's got like the slow moving carefulness of ARMA with the shooting speed and fluidity of Counter-Strike. And it's a really fun game. Mm-hmm. And it's also a lot of fun to play co-op, which most shooters don't really have good co-op modes, but the co-op in Insurgency is great. And a couple of you guys suggested that we could like rent a Insurgency server. Although actually you guys were offering to pitch in and help rent an Insurgency server because they're not that expensive to rent. And so we talked about it. We thought that was a really cool idea. But we didn't want you guys to pay for it because you already contribute to the podcast, and anything we could do to help you guys out or to have something the community can participate in is awesome. So we're introducing what we want to call CSG Servers tonight. And it's starting with Insurgency. So the idea is we are going to host a server, and it's going to rotate the game every couple months. So right now we are hosting Insurgency, an 8-man Insurgency server for 3 months. And of course, if it gets really popular, we can bump up the amount. But so it's running Insurgency right now. It's running co-op, but I can change that stuff after I read a bunch of tutorials and figure out how to use the server console. But I was able to find a site that builds a template that I upload, and it kind of makes it work. So if you guys want to play Insurgency with us on the Casual Shenanigans Gaming Insurgency server after the podcast, links are going to be in all my videos starting after this one for the next 3 months, links to the server as well as the TeamSpeak and everything else. So this is just a thank you for you guys pledging on Patreon. After Insurgency, there's all kinds of games we could host. It could be Left 4 Dead server, it could be Left 4 Dead 2, it could be Minecraft, it could be Battlefield. I mean, most multiplayer shooters or games of any kind, we can host some sort of server for. So this is like a trial program. If not a ton of people want to play it, like if it's only medium popular, we'll probably spend the money on something else just because we want to spend the money you guys give us in the most intelligent way possible. But I'm hoping this becomes a pretty cool, fun thing. So around about 10 o'clock Eastern tonight, we are going to play Insurgency. So if you guys want to play Insurgency, come on out. It's going to be a lot of fun. Joel, I know you don't want to play it, but you have a key. If someone else can borrow your Steam account, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, Joel, do you have anything patronizing to say about Insurgency? Something else?
I didn't say I hated it. I said I might try it if I'm on one night, but I told you I probably don't see myself playing it much. But
that's the nicest thing you said.
I said that the first time too. You bastard.
I'm just calling you out live, Joel.
Yeah, so feel free to send in suggestions for games you guys would think would be awesome if we hosted a server for. And for right now, it's just going to be Insurgency, but it could expand in the future. So thank you guys for supporting us on Patreon, and we hope to see you all on the Insurgency server. Also, if you're not a member of the Casual Shenanigans Steam Group, that's where we'll post links to like official Insurgency nights when we try to come out and play with you guys. Of course, we're online pretty often, but when we try to get something organized, if you're on the Steam group, you will see a notification for it. And if you're not on the Steam group, you should do that now.
Yes.
All right. It's now time for Potato Masher Update. The next game we reviewed...
Joel, what's the theme song for a Potato Masher?
Do you have a theme song for that?
One.
What was? Did we have one?
No.
I don't think so.
This is your ability to...
Oh, good call, James.
Gosh,
I'm really worried about Joel tonight. Are you?
I can't think of anything. I wanted to do like your potato masher sound, but that's just boring.
How do you mash your potatoes? He's like,
Joel mashes once, and then it's just all over the place.
Throws on the concrete.
You could just be like, "Die, peasants!" Ah! Does that work?
Yeah, that works.
Okay, cool.
Basically a reenactment right there.
Okay. So, the next game we reviewed, we did Metro 2033 Redux last week, and this week we did Metro Last Light. So, if everyone who is hosting, or one of the hosts of the podcast, if you want to queue up the video, if you want to watch along with us, I'm going to be starting it in 5, 4...
Wait.
What? I'm not going to be starting it. I'm going to stall while James brings it up. do 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 do. I'm not good at humming.
I'm almost there. I got it.
You're really good at singing that song, Joel.
I got it. I got it there.
The almost there song.
Oh.
Read into that as you will.
What does that even mean?
You know what it means. All right, is everyone ready?
Yes.
All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Today we are comparing Metro Last Light Redux on the Potato Masher and the PlayStation 4. If you don't know what the Potato Masher is, it is a custom-built computer built in December 2014 for $350 and designed to compete against the PlayStation 4 for the rest of its life cycle. If you check the video description, we have links to the original build video as well as links to an uncompressed version of this video if you really want to pixel peep. Alright, now let's talk about Metro Last Light Redux. Now, we already compared Metro 2033 Redux, and we came to the conclusion that it's not really that much better on the PC than it is on the PlayStation 4. Obviously, you can run higher resolutions, the textures are a little bit better, there are more dynamic lights, and you have slightly better options, but that's really about it. It's obviously designed to work on the PlayStation 4, and it looks great on the PlayStation 4 and the PC. You don't really lose out with either platform. But there are still slight differences. So in Metro Last Light, on the PC, there are definitely better textures and better character models. Not a ton better, but they're definitely a little bit different. And to talk more about it, I've invited Dave, the Evil Viking 13, to talk with me about it since he is a 3D and level artist with some video game experience, and he really, really likes good graphics. Alright, so Dave, what do you think about Metro Last Light?
This is the graphic horror opinion right here, and it is actually really hard to see differences at 1080p. Same thing as before, we have longer light render distances, and we have a few more lights per scene, but honestly, if you're just gaming at normal HD, it's really hard to tell the differences here.
Did you notice any differences in the character models or textures in the character models? Because it looked to me like the PC did have slightly better textures. I thought that was more readily apparent than in Metro 2033.
I'm looking here on my 1440p screen with the screenshots centered, and it's kind of pulled back a bit. Maybe a slight difference, yeah, but like I said, just at 1080p, it's hard to tell. Yeah, if you were to crank this up higher, sure, there'd be a difference, but not at this res.
Yeah, but it's still a great looking game, though. I mean, a definite step up from Metro 2033, and again, a testament to the studio for making a game that ran great on both systems. I mean, there are no real issues. Now, on the Potato Masher, you can almost run the game at 60 FPS on very high, and the PS4 is running at 1080p and 60 FPS, although we don't really know what equivalent quality settings it's using. It looks to be somewhere around medium to medium high compared to the PC version. But yeah, on the PC you can run at very high, almost 60 FPS VSynced. It is going to dip during periods of action or if there's a lot of complex lighting going on. When it does dip, it never dips very far, usually into the mid-50s or sometimes into the 40s. There doesn't seem to be any real reason why it dips, but it's very, very occasional, and honestly, I'd probably play on very high just because it looks so great. Now, if you do drop it down to high, it doesn't really look considerably worse. In fact, it's very, very close, and you will have an absolutely locked 60 FPS all the time. But it's important that you know that the option is there. If you're someone who really cares about good frame rates and really cares about having your frame rate above 60, and if you have a build similar to the Potato Masher, then you're probably not going to be able to run the game on very high. Now, just to see what type of frame rates we could theoretically achieve, I turned off VSync and ran the game at high, since we know it's guaranteed 60 FPS locked all the time. And then without VSync, obviously you're going to notice a little bit of screen tearing, but that's just because it isn't synced. So the game, not VSynced, runs anywhere from 60 to sometimes as high as 120 FPS. Which goes to show that the game really is capable of running fantastically, but there are momentary frame rate dips, and they do happen often enough that you're definitely not going to play this game on the Potato Masher at, say, 96 Hz or 120 Hz or something like that. It's just not going to happen VSynced. But if you're okay with some frame rate dips, as long as the frame rate is still always fantastic, then you could do it. You could play it not VSynced, but this game does have pretty noticeable screen tearing, so personally I found it pretty distracting, and I'm totally fine playing most games at 60 FPS. I never really feel like the frame rate is hindering me at all. So I was pretty happy with it. Obviously, your mileage will vary, and as always, if you're looking to play games well above 60 FPS, a budget build like the Potato Masher is probably not the thing for you. But yeah, the game is capable of running quite fast. Next, I wanted to see if you could run Metro Last Light Redux at higher resolutions than 1080p. Because this is really where PC games can come into their own, and something that consoles can't really compete with. Personally, I think higher resolutions have a much greater effect on image quality than many other smaller image options, although you do need a lot of extra graphics horsepower to run them. Now, what you're seeing right now is the game running at 1440p on high. It's not VSynced, which is okay, because it wouldn't be anywhere close to 60 FPS anyway. It was always above 30, but at high settings at 1440p with no anti-aliasing, because the game has really crappy anti-aliasing, and once you start super sampling the resolution, you don't really need it that much anyway. But when I dropped the quality to medium, here you see now it's VSynced, and it stays almost at 60 the entire time at 1440p. If you're right in the middle of a gun battle, it'll sometimes drop only by a couple FPS, and honestly, if I didn't have the frame rate counter, I don't know that I ever would have noticed. So I'm comfortable enough to say that you can almost play this game at medium settings, 1440p, at 60 FPS, although right there you'd see it did drop quite a bit. And then now, here we're looking at the game at 4K on the lowest settings. Now, there's nothing you can really do about this. If you want to run the game at 4K, you're going to run it on low. That's just how it is. But it pretty much always stayed above 30 FPS, so if you don't mind playing at 30 FPS and you have 4K and you have this build, I mean, your monitor probably costs more than the computer did, but you can theoretically play Metro Last Light Redux at 4K. I still think it looks great, it just doesn't look as good as it could with some of the other options turned up. In conclusion, Metro Last Light Redux is a fantastic looking game whether you play it on the PlayStation 4 or the PC. If you have a higher resolution monitor, I'd highly recommend picking it up on the PC, but it's great on both systems, runs great. I would just recommend not using anti-aliasing if you're on the PC because it destroys the game's performance and honestly doesn't really look any better. If you have extra headroom, I would just super sample the resolution and it will look fantastic. So thank you everyone for watching. If you have any more questions or anything about the Potato Masher, be sure to check the description for all the relevant links, and see y'all later. Alright. Oh, Joel's not even paying attention once again.
Jeremiah, my favorite comment from that, this hasn't gone live yet on YouTube, has it? So this is the...
Yeah, it hasn't gone live yet.
We gotta start this out next time with like now the world premiere Potato Masher episode.
I can do that.
That's true. It is live. I was watching on your YouTube.
Nope. It's not.
That's the other Metro, Joel.
I was watching the wrong one. Because mine ended earlier.
Did you just watch
I sent an email, Joel, with the link.
What?
I sent a download link out.
I literally thought it was that one, so I just quickly went to it because I saw.
What I was going to say though, Jeremiah, the comment I hadn't even thought about that if you are playing any game on the Potato Masher with a 4K screen, that screen costs much more than the actual build. Like I had to process that. That's amazing.
But, you know, I figured I want to say like, hey, if I want to show. Yes, you theoretically can do it.
You could have like a 4K TV in your living room for some reason at this point. Maybe you got a good deal on it and you're like, hey, can I plug my $400 computer into my $3,000 TV?
Well, I'm just trying to show it's possible. Like there's another game coming up that I'm going to be testing pretty soon. I've already tested on the PC. I'm just waiting for the PS4 disc to get here. And it just doesn't run faster than 60 FPS. Like the game is hard-coded that it can't do it. Of course, 60 FPS is fantastic, but like... So if you really want to say, okay, well, what is the real advantage then of playing it on the PC? Well, you can play it at higher resolutions. Like some games are just hard-coded. They won't go above a certain amount. So yeah, the PS4 and the PC are going to look fairly similar, especially if the game is PS4 like it was the lead platform. So I like to test other resolutions. I imagine within a couple years, there's going to be like no chance, I'm not going to be running... Joel... Once again, not paying attention to the podcast. Do you have anything to share with us?
He's gone. We've lost him. I'm gonna bet that
I am paying 100% attention to it. Okay.
This is James is doing it. I know it. I see it in his face.
All right. Did either of the peanut gallery have any thoughts about that video or the potato masher in general?
I have one question.
Okay.
What was the video like? I can't find the link.
Can you describe
I'm going
it
to my
to me?
Gmail and I cannot find the link that you sent. And I'm like, what the
Okay.
heck?
All right. That's all right. All right. It's all right. So if you saw the Metro 2033 video, the big differences of Last Light is since Last Light's a newer game, it does look better. I think on the PC, like the textures and models and stuff are all a little better.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest difference besides lights. If you go back and watch the video link when you can find it later, the PC has many more dynamic lights, which in most scenes isn't a real noticeable difference because there aren't that many lights. But in scenes that do have a lot of lights and a lot of particles or anything else, there's a huge visual difference.
Yeah.
But it's mostly in style. Like the character models are all good, frame rate's all good. Like the PS4 doesn't have anything wrong with it. They just added like extra polish on a couple areas on the PC. Besides the fact that the PC can play it at 1440p decently well, and it can kind of play it at 4K, not very well, but it is theoretically possible. All right, moving on to a new segment we're introducing tonight. Who knows how often this is going to be, but I'm very excited about it. Joel is our man on the street. Joel, would you like to talk about your vision for this project?
What's your theme song?
Yo. I was beyond the street, yo.
Oh my.
You been working those streets, Joel? You been
Why
working
didn't
those streets
screen
hard?
any of this?
No, I've been meaning to do this for a while, and I just keep forgetting to bring my. I have a little mic. I have a little Rode mic that my brother gave me to put on my iPhone, and I could just go around and just record like I'm a real journalist. Anyways, so yeah, it's simple. It's nothing crazy. James has already heard it. I guess Dave has listened to the entire thing. Right,
No,
Dave?
I listened to 2 minutes like you told me to.
Okay, so what did you do, Joel? What did you do? You just walked around with your
basically
mic?
I walked around and I asked people some questions about PC, Mac. I said, what do you like, Mac or PC? And maybe where I live, it's like the iPhone capital of the world, but I counted on the bus.
Joel, you work at a college.
I know that.
Colleges are the Apple capitals.
Look, okay, when I was in Disney World, I walked around
Wait.
What?
What were you doing at Disney World?
What do you mean, what was I doing?
You said you walked around there everywhere. What?
This is relevant.
Well, I've been there a few times.
But you weren't looking.
No, I was at a developer conference. So yeah,
Okay,
it was a lot.
A web designer and developer.
Yeah, and developer.
Don't just say developer.
Well, developers work on PCs too.
I understand that, but when you
So you're
say
gonna say
just
there's more
developer,
developers on Macs?
What James is trying to say is
This
it's
is what
not
we're gonna do tonight. We're gonna fight.
It's not totally random people. That's what James is trying to say.
I know that,
you are
but-
choosing from a pool of people who are more inclined to be using Macs.
Yeah, but-
there's nothing wrong with that. That's the people you were around.
No,
I don't
but-
think he was making fun of that.
No,
I
I'm
know
just
that, but
calling
I'm
you an
saying
elitist.
I'm not. It's not just from that developer. I've been to Disney World several times, not at a Mac conference. It wasn't a Mac conference. I'm just saying. I just walking around Disney World. When you see people with phones, like it's just crazy. I'm like iPhone, Android, iPhone.
Also,
It's just
the thing
crazy.
with
I would love
the
to
thing
see
with-
like you just walk around next time you're outside of the house, whenever that is. I'm curious, like count the phones you see.
Joel, you know that Android has a bigger market share,
I know
and you know
that.
Windows has like a 9 times the market share.
I know that, and that's why I find it
Okay.
so odd. Like everywhere I've gone, you
Right,
just watch, and you're just like iPhones
Joel,
everywhere.
you work at a place with like 14,000 kids walking around who have government-backed loans for thousands
I'm not
of
just
dollars.
talking
Of
about
course,
college.
they have Macs.
I'm not
Of course
talking
they have
about
Macs.
college, though.
Jeremiah, he's talking about his web designer conference too.
Yes, and then you're talking about people who got flown to Disney World. Yeah, they have expensive computers. What a giant surprise, Joel! If I was going to drop $3,000 on a computer, I'd probably buy a MacBook and install Windows on it. They make seriously good hardware.
When I was at the beach, that's just what I do. Like when I'm at restaurants.
Why don't you
Anytime.
enjoy where you're going? You're at the beach. Why are you looking at phones?
It's kind of like my little fun thing to do. I just like look around. I'm like just curious. Like you just don't see it. So I
Don't
challenge
see
me
what?
on this.
What do you not see?
Look around. Next time you're out at restaurants,
it's
count
Joel's
how many
lifetime
iPhones.
search for validation.
Count how many iPhones you see in a day.
It's Joel's completely subjective look at technology. Joel, you know why you notice, like, let's say you see those stereotypical view of like a press conference or a classroom and everyone has MacBooks. Most PCs don't have a giant glowing logo embedded in the hood. And most Android phones don't all look absolutely identical. The reason you notice iPhones and Macs is, one, you work in a place that has a lot of people who have them for the aforementioned reasons, and two, you notice them because they are designed to stand out and make you notice them. That's like saying, man, everywhere I go, I keep seeing all these red cars. Why do I keep seeing red cars?
But that's not it. That's bullcrap. Like, I know what a phone looks like.
When's the last time you noticed?
Looks like an iPhone. No, I
When's
know
the last time you noticed a gray Toyota Camry driving on the road?
Okay,
you probably never noticed them, and they're the
cars.
number one selling family car or number one selling sedan in America for like 15 years now, and you never notice them because they're so hideously boring. You never notice them.
I have a Mazda,
just like you don't see people using Dells.
Mazdas, I understand, but that's not what I'm doing. I'm not just looking just for my phone. I'm looking at everyone's phone. I know what a phone looks like.
But you were looking in very limited demographics.
But listen, I'm not just talking about where I live in college, but I'm saying anywhere I've ever taken trips. Like, I just do that. So I just curious, like, am I not allowed to do that? I'm just saying, why don't you do it?
You're totally allowed to do that.
You just count. I'd be curious, like, where you live. Are you seeing lots of iPhones, or is it just the area?
I feel like I see a split. I feel like it's pretty average. Like, it's pretty normal split.
Well, next time, do a count. Just like, when, I don't know, wherever you are, like, just look around, just see how many times you see iPhones.
I mean, I hear a lot about iPhones.
Let's just do a little thing right now. How many people have iPhones on the podcast? Oh, okay.
Guys, Joel, frustrating.
Everywhere you look, you're seeing Android.
Joel, we're not trying to be frustrating. You're saying something. Here's the thing with arguing.
Don't you think I know that, though? You're making it sound like I don't know. I'm saying I think I live in the area with lots of iPhones. I'm just saying it's just weird that everywhere I go, like the beach, I've been to, been to Florida many times, not on the MAC conference. I've been there twice, okay? And I've just noticed iPhones. And I'm like looking at people. So I've seen a bunch of Androids. It's honestly about a 30-70%. Every single time I see it. It's kind of ridiculous.
Here was my point I was trying to make, Joel. I don't understand what point you're trying to make. You're
saying not making any point. I just think it's interesting.
Then why are we arguing about it?
What's interesting? Are arguing about it like I'm trying to fight another.
What's interesting? What is interesting? You see a lot of iPhones. It's a popular phone. I don't know. What's the point?
Fight me in real life.
I'm just saying, go and look. I'm curious, like, is it something that, like, Android people just don't have their phones out as much? I don't know.
Maybe they don't feel the need to be validated as much by their choice of designer telephone handpiece.
Maybe they're out working and doing stuff for the world. Not lazy, sitting on the beach. They're hanging out at Disney
maybe they're
World.
not getting flown to Disney World. Maybe the type of people that get flown to Disney World and have all the government backs. Joel, again, I'm not trying to argue with you.
Oh, I am.
You're just saying
it's fun.
You're just saying I just want you to go out and notice. Notice what? What am I supposed like? Yeah, I see people with iPhones all the time. It's one of the most popular phones in the world.
That, but I just be curious, like, just on your just daily commute wherever you go, like.
The same place you do.
I would really like to know, like, oh man, I'm seeing a lot of more Androids. I would just be curious, like, where I live is just a saturated Apple area.
I will participate. I could say, all right, a place I go on a pretty normal basis, the gym.
Yeah.
All right, in the gym, the women mostly have iPhones. The young women mostly have iPhones. Most of the older people seem to have iPhones or like giant smartphones, like giant Androids. So it's either iPhone or giant Android. And then for the younger people, like I said, a lot of girls seem to have iPhones. And this is totally subjective, just like your opinion. This is just what I notice. I notice them because they all have OtterBoxes on them. So you notice the bright, colorful cases.
Yeah.
And then guys, it seems to be kind of 50-50. And there's a couple colleges in my area, but none right next to the gym. So, it's not necessarily all college kids or anything. But yeah, the older people seem to like iPhones, probably because they know the name of them. You never notice flip phones.
No, I've been noticing a lot of flip phones in my area. Like they're like regressing. Yeah, I've seen a lot of them showed up again.
You see, there's what company is it? Is it LG is making a Android flip phone?
Really?
It's got like a 3-inch screen. It flips open. It's this tiny little screen. The phone kind of sucks.
Cool. I mean,
but it's for people who really want a flip phone still. For me, like, the nice thing about a flip phone is the simplicity, not the fact that it happens to fold in half. Like,
right.
Oh, I love the form factor of the flip phone. It just
dude,
it feels
it's
great
like,
in your pocket.
It's this big and the battery lasts for 3 weeks.
I would carry my big phone just for
like
the
a little
internet
thumb drive. It's like
just for phone.
Click. Yay,
it's like having a tablet, James, with your phone. Like you have one phone that's just a small tablet.
But yeah, so Joel, I'm sorry we had this argument, but now we're going to listen. Yeah. We probably should have listened to the segment before we actually argued about it.
I would have loved to be able to bring up these curiosities without me trying to actually smash anything. I'm just curious. Like,
Okay.
it'd be like if you go, well, I see a lot of PCs around here. Oh, there's Macs too. I'm like, no, I was just saying, out of curiosity. I just noticed it's just weird because I'm like, it must be just the area I'm in. But I've just been in a lot of other places too. And I'm not just looking for iPhones. I'm looking for anyone who's holding a phone. If they're not holding a phone, I don't know what phone they have, obviously.
I can't see you if you don't have a
Yeah.
phone. Where are you?
I don't even notice.
So maybe what you're saying is iPhone users are more likely to be vapidly staring at their phone at Disney World, and Android users are off enjoying the park or the beach.
They're like running, enjoying
going to
Or they're
class.
taking photos. They're all standing in a group, like holding them, taking photos of each other.
And the iPhone users are just standing there staring at let's pay a lot of money, go somewhere and stare at our phones in a really pretty place.
Oh man,
Okay.
I could look
Maybe
the
humor
ocean through
me.
my phone all day long.
I am
Just
humoring
humor
you.
me. Yeah, humor me next time if you go there. Just
Okay.
be like, just count them. Just be like, oh, I happen
Will
to
do.
count like 10 and then 2 Androids. I'm like, that's weird.
If we
I'll
drop by
report back.
Disney again, just
I'll
just real
report
quick.
back. Okay, does everyone have their audio file queued up and ready to go?
Yes.
All right, going on. This is Joel, Man on the Street. In 3,
Oh, wait,
2,
wait. Okay.
in 3, 2, 1.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
I do a gaming podcast with some friends, a bunch of nerds.
Okay.
I was just asking a few people a question. You mind if I ask you something real quick? You don't have to give a name. I was just going to ask if you like PC or Mac.
Okay.
What do you like?
I would prefer Mac. I don't have
I was
one,
going to guess
but-
it. I was going to guess you like Mac. You seem like a Mac person. I love Mac.
Yeah.
So I think it's the preferred choice of elites. That's what I think.
Okay.
Do you play any games?
I actually don't really.
No video games at all.
No.
Card games, board games,
I like card games.
card games. What card games do you like?
I really like the game Nerds. Have you ever played that before?
Narts?
Nerds.
Nerds.
Yeah.
No, that sounds awesome. PC or Mac?
Mac.
Mac?
PC.
PC? What about you?
PC.
And why?
I don't
That's what my
understand
mom
the
bought
Mac.
You don't understand Mac?
Yeah, I don't understand it. I haven't given it enough time to
It's
learn.
just like feels like another skill that you have.
Okay, what kind of phones do you have?
I have a Windows phone.
Windows phone?
iPhone.
Windows phone.
I have an iPhone.
A
You have an
unicorn.
iPhone? Android.
Joel,
Okay,
your
cool.
voice,
So what
dude.
do you guys do?
Windows
Game or play any games?
Really? Used to. No. I don't
College
really.
students don't play a game. All right.
I used to play.
You?
Yeah.
What do you play?
Clash Clans.
Clash of Clans. That makes it. You play on your Mac, sure, right?
Not my phone.
Oh, you can play on your phone. Jeez. Okay.
There you go. There you go.
Well, that's cool. Man, Windows phone.
Yeah.
Man, that's like the first person I've seen with a Windows phone.
It's because they're cheap and they don't give iPhones to foreign people.
Do you prefer PC or Mac? What do you use?
Mac.
You like
Always,
Mac?
yeah,
Why?
always Mac. I think it's visually it's a lot easier to use, and I think it's streamlined. I do a lot of video work, and it's just a lot quicker, and it just works a lot better with that medium.
Yeah, have you ever used Windows 8? Have you tried Windows 8?
No,
No?
actually, I've never actually
Shouldn't. You
used
shouldn't.
Windows 8. Yeah, no.
Cool. Okay, so do you play any games? Play video games at all?
Mainly just sports games.
Sports game. What do you
Yeah.
play it on?
Xbox 360.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Hey, do you want to? Can I ask you guys a quick question? Take like 2 seconds. That's for a gaming podcast I do. Do you guys like PC or Mac? What do you guys
like
use?
computers.
Yeah.
Mac.
Mac? Why do you like Mac better? Or is that just what you have?
It's what I have, and I just like it. My brother-in-law's name is Mac.
What kind of phones do you have then?
I have an iPhone, but I
I have an
prefer
iPhone.
PCs.
Really?
Okay.
I have an
What-
iPhone.
You have an iPhone? All right, cool. Do you guys play any games at all?
What do you mean?
Like
Video games?
Yeah, video games. No? Not at all? iPhone gaming?
No.
No?
What are games?
All right. Well, that's cool. Well, thanks. See you later.
Yeah.
Do you guys like Mac or PC? What are you?
PC.
You're PC?
Yep.
What about you?
I don't play computer games, but I have a Mac computer.
Okay. So you don't play any games?
No.
No.
I'm not a gamer.
Not a gamer at all. All right. What do you do then?
Engineering. That's
That-
my
that's-
major, so I don't have time for gaming.
Keep doing that.
Yeah.
That's worth something.
Yeah, I don't have time to game.
What about you? So you're PC.
I'm a PC.
And why? Have you ever had a Mac, or just hate them, or
No.
just indifferent?
I'm biased against against Mac. I just like I can customize PCs.
You like customizing? What kind of phone do you have?
Asus.
You have an Asus phone?
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, that's cool. Enjoy your Dunkin' Donuts.
Thank you.
See you guys. Do you guys like PC or Mac?
Mac.
PC. Mac? Why are you for Mac?
Because one, I have a Mac Pro Air, and it's awesome. Have you ever felt those things?
Yeah, I have a MacBook Air. I love it. Like, you just can't go back once it's so light. So.
Exactly.
What is your inferior machine, you said?
No, I like PC. I mean, there's a lot more things you can really do with it. Like mine, I've got the new Dell Inspiron's touchscreen, so that helps.
Huh.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
cool.
Yeah.
So what are the different things that you do on your PC that we're not doing on our Macs? What's some of the things like? I just love customizing.
Yeah, I mean,
what do you customize that we can't customize?
Well, I mean, you got more freedom on a PC. Like some things like that Apple does control that they don't want you really messing with. Which I mean, you can
So freedom to get more viruses and stuff. Is that what you're saying? I like that. Those freedoms are good.
Windows Defender is actually pretty solid now.
It is actually, yeah, it is actually pretty
That's what
solid.
school
I
uses.
honestly haven't had I have a PC. I do all my design on my laptop, which is a Mac and stuff like that. But my PC, because I do video editing stuff. But yeah, so any game, what kind of games do you like playing? You guys play games?
Well, that's mostly on my phone. I have apps, and Candy Crush is a big one.
So you're a Candy Crush.
Oh yeah.
Okay. What about you?
You know, I really don't play too many.
So you're
That's
just
a lie.
don't have time.
PC guy, but don't play.
PC guy, but don't play games now.
All right, that's cool, man.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. Thanks for.
No problem.
What do you use? PC or Mac?
Mac. Mac as well.
Mac. Why? I mean, I saw you guys both have iPhones. I think everyone on this bus has iPhones.
Right. I honestly am not a big tech guy. I just went off, but like my brothers have Macs and everybody has Macs, so like they were just like
So you just got
no
a Mac?
viruses too. No viruses.
Yeah, I was gonna say good software. It's a lot. I feel like it's more simple to use than Androids. I used to have an Android, and I used to work with like Dells and PCs and whatnot. Macs have just been easier.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So, you guys game at all? Play any games?
A little bit. Nothing on my computer though.
No.
What do you game on?
Xbox.
Xbox One.
361?
Xbox One.
Cool. Alright, so if you would you prefer mouse and keyboard or controller?
Controller. I never played games on a computer before.
Yeah.
Never played it ever?
Never on a computer now.
Never? Okay.
I've tried it, but it's too much.
What do you don't like about it?
I'm not good at it. You just gotta get used to it. Yeah. Just growing up with controllers and whatnot.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
Cool, Joel. Thanks.
Yeah, Joel, you make a pretty good interviewer. Like you sound pretty approachable. Honestly,
That
was a
first
lot
girl,
less.
that first girl did sound a little bit weirded out, though.
She
not
was
gonna
she
lie.
was more cold than weirded out. She was more and
Okay.
she's shy. She's shy. So
Yeah,
What was-
like,
what was the
honestly,
name
Joel,
of that
that's why I called a bunch of nerds. Sorry, I didn't, just because like I was just trying to open the conversation. Like,
Oh, no,
you
no, I know,
we're kinda-
I know.
We're silly, you know. And they
no,
kinda
no,
like,
no,
oh, okay.
definitely.
But
Yeah,
the funniest part, and I stopped recording before this happened. Everyone laughed on the bus. I was done interviewing those last two. One of the two guys that was all loud on the bus, right? And I counted literally every phone, and it was an iPhone on the bus. There was about 18 or 19 people there. And then there was one person who didn't have a phone out. So we're sitting there quietly, and the guy like kind of looks over. He like pulls out his iPhone. He doesn't say anything, and we're all like, "Wow, you had an iPhone too!" He was just like, "Wow!" It was just funny. I was like, "Yay!"
it was a Bonnie moment.
Yeah.
Joel, if I could throw in something,
Go ahead.
I've been to Central America a couple times. Once, the first time I went, smartphones weren't really a thing. It was like in 2005.
Yeah.
Then the next time I went, I actually got to go back to like the same city in 2011. So smartphones were just kind of exploding, and like zero iPhones. The important thing to keep in mind with Android, you probably will see more iPhones in a first world country, but in much of the same way that Bill Gates envisioned Windows as something that could put a computer in every house, Android is kind of a platform that can get a phone in everyone's hand. And that's why a lot of Android phones do suck. It's that they're made for like a tenth of the price. They're made out of crappy equipment because you can sell them for $30 in a developing country, and people can get access to the internet like who've never had it before. I'm not saying like Google is super noble or anything, but they've just made an open platform where people can do whatever they want with it. So, you know, Android does have a bigger market share, but yeah, a lot of that is in places you're probably never going to visit. It's in third world countries, developing nations.
That's actually
Android,
something I learned from the developers conference, actually.
It's.
I think we talked about that too.
Yeah, we did. We did. How like it's easy to plan things for American internet. Well, the good parts of American internet, and you know, big fancy modern phones and stuff. But some people will get an old smartphone and they're going to use it for like the next 5 or 6 years. So, Android is a better platform for the people in much the same way Windows is a better platform for the people,
anytime
because
it can be cheaper, of course.
Exactly, because Macs are great. They're not really great because they're Macs. They're great because when you have a closed system and you can sell the computers for $1,000 plus, you can build really awesome computers.
Oh, you can build good cases too.
Exactly. Yeah, you can. Physically, you can build a really good machine and sell it for a really good amount of money. And that's what's working for them. So Apple isn't doing anything wrong. They're just selling to an upper end of the market. And it's worked out very well for them. So yeah, I look forward to your future Men on the Street segments.
Yeah, so if anyone has future questions or things like that, I'm good.
If you have stuff that you want Joel to run up to random people and talk to them about, send it in. We may screen these.
I'm pretty approachable when it comes to that. And I'm also not afraid to just go up and ask people stuff.
That is very true.
People are like, oh, you're so creepy. I'm like, oh, I asked you a question about PCs. So creepy. I'm going to die.
Scary.
Joel's like, who says I'm creepy? I run fast. Okay, it is now time for the news.
Wait, are we going to address his outcome?
There wasn't really an outcome. He was just talking to people about why they...
I noticed a couple things.
Okay, I noticed some stuff. I wasn't going to, really... Go for it. Go for it, James.
Observe,
I
James.
noticed that the main reason most people like Macs is because they were easy to use.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not to say that Mac users are less intelligent. No, I'm just kidding.
Just let it hang out there.
I think they are easy.
Dot.
I think, well, they are, a PC is easy to use. We go through the same thing with the PC versus console debate. Whatever you use the most feels easy, and every time you use the other system, you're like, what is this? This is so difficult. It's not that it's really that difficult, it's that you're not used to it.
I use the Mac for work, and I use PC at any other time. And there are things that I love about both. I love installing programs on a Mac. It's just drag, the little icon into the folder, and you're pretty much done on most programs.
I love troubleshooting programs on a PC because on a Mac, your option is drag it out, drag it back in. Did it work? No? Repeat step one again. Dude, there was once I was trying to uninstall, my brother-in-law accidentally installed some bloatware thing on his Mac. One of those McAfee comes bundled in with something like that. It was some antivirus thing. And dragging it to the trash can wasn't getting rid of it. And I kept Googling the topic, and there were all these condescending Mac fanboys going, you just don't understand how to uninstall stuff. Macs are so superior. You drag the icon to the trash can. And then people will be like, but it's not doing it. And people are like, well, you're not doing it correctly then. It's like, you're not dragging the icon correctly because it would work. It's very good when it works. When there are no issues, it is easier to use. Probably. It's easier to use for very surface stuff because that's what it's optimized for. It's obviously designed, it's not designed just for hardworking professionals. They blew past that years ago when the MacBook Pro became the normal MacBook and they started getting rid of the Mac Pro models. They obviously are trending down towards consumers now, even though they do offer still powerful models. That's got more to do with computing has caught up to most people's needs.
I don't think that's actually true for the Mac Pro. It's more they just weren't selling well because they're insanely expensive.
But what about the fact that the Mac Pro is just pretty much gone, and all they have now for desktop is iMac?
Yeah, all they're pushing is iMacs
if you're talking about hardcore, professional, digital video editing or stuff like that.
You still have those, whatever the little cylinder thing is.
That's the Mac Pro.
Yeah.
But they're not putting much effort into those anymore. It's still there, but they become worse deals. There's less customization options, and they don't care about them. The same way with the iPod Classic went away over time. They just started pushing everything towards touch. And yeah, it's probably based on sales, but again, it's hard to say, well, Macs for the hardcore video professionals and stuff, when most of the stuff they're making is geared towards people who want a giant, beautiful screen on their desktop, and it doesn't really matter how fast it is because, most people can do everything they need to do on a MacBook Air. You do work on a MacBook Air. Yeah. It's not because a MacBook Air is so incredibly powerful. It's that it's more powerful than what most people need because computing's caught up. That's really what it is we don't have applications that can really push stuff that hard. Even hardcore video rendering, really you just need a powerful processor or a powerful video card that can do the rendering. Anyway. So yeah. The biggest thing I noticed on either side, most people who had one version, their big reason for having it was because they liked it.
There wasn't a lot of discussion of I chose this feature,
which
this
is really
style.
how this conversation should end. Is people have what they have because they prefer it.
did you guys notice how many people were taking just what their relatives or friends or what everyone else was using? Like, there was a lot of just community decisions where it's not like, what do I need? It's like, well, my brother uses it and he showed me how, so I use it.
Well, and people like the feeling of, hey, if something goes wrong, like, hey, I know I've got other people I know who know what this thing is, know how it works. Like, if I have questions, I have someone I can go to. That's worth a lot. I mean, you trust people around you who make recommendations. So, yeah, it's cool.
I would say for me, like, switching to Android this time. Well, I guess the time before. When my switch from Apple to Android, like, I wanted a bigger screen at first, but once I started using it, everything just... I loved it. Like, just, you know, yes, the Apple is easier, but it's also more frustrating to do some simple things too. So in some ways, it's not easier.
I had Android, went to Apple, and then went back to Android. And for me, I would rather have a slight extra bit of complexity and be able to do everything I want to do with it than have it be really fluid and simple and not be able to do everything I want. But I want to do more stuff with my phone than a lot of people do. So again, I use it because that's what I prefer. And also, the biggest reason I had to get rid of the iPhone was my hands. Like, my fingers would go numb trying to use it. I'm not even kidding, dude. It's so tiny. It was so tiny. My fingers were cramping up using my...
You actually have to hold, like, pool sticks and then use those to type with because your fingers are so large.
You don't even understand.
What's that mean?
That would extend your reach,
That's
though.
the actual opposite.
No. You hold just by the tips, you know, and then just, like, tap the buttons.
The problem is that... Okay...
Anyway, moving on. It's time for the news.
That made sense. You just didn't get it.
It's time for the news, Joel.
Well, I got it. I got a laugh out of it.
He's not going to sing the song, is he? He's not going to do it.
Time.
Thank you.
There it is.
First bit of news. Kerbal Space Program is going to leave early access next update. Most of the news you hear about early access is how people create vaporware to try to steal your money and release crappy broken games. But Kerbal Space Program is one of the definite success stories of early access. It was a weird, quirky little program that probably wasn't going to get funded by someone else. But they put it on early access. People really liked it. It's super deep. It's very fun if you get into it. And it's leaving early access with its next update. So it should be sometime in the next month or so, maybe. They're not committing to a release date, which is very smart of them. But yeah, that's what's going on. Okay.
Nice to hear a success story.
Yes, it is. I mean,
Honestly,
there are success stories. You just don't hear about most of them because every week there's someone trying to screw people over.
Yeah, I feel like people should just take the slightest effort to vet early access. I get that a lot of times it's on official storefronts and whatnot, which there's always ways they can make it more identifiable. But just, I mean, do a little research when you spend your money. Just, that's a good rule for life. That yawn.
In that Christmas blanket.
Quick, Jeremiah, let's go to sleep. Talk about graphics cards.
Like, my hands are shivering.
We're actually going to our next news topic. We're going to talk about the GTX 970. You might possibly have heard something about it this week. It has become extremely popular as like the next 8800 GT, you know, the everyman's powerful GPU that'll run your games for years to come. I can't comment on it because mine burned up in 4 days, but Dave has a GTX 970. And Dave, I think you could probably take us through this pretty well.
Yeah,
what
I've been
happened
catching up.
with the 970 this week?
I've been catching up today on like some of the technical details, and I am not a expert on the architecture, so I'll do my best here. I bought a 970 with the intention of doing a second one for SLI sometime this year for 1440p. I wanted 60 FPS locked, maximum settings, SLI. That was the plan. Well, it turns out there's going to be a huge speed bump with that plan because on the 4 gigabyte GTX 970, the last half gig of video memory is basically on a separate memory controller and also shares cache with another part of the card. So what happens is if you push your card to like higher AA, higher settings at 1440p or 4K, and you cross that 3.5 gigs of memory usage, expecting to be able to use all 4 gigs, you still have a decent frame rate. You know, the loss of frames as you increase detail is still the usual curve you would expect, but the amount of time it takes that slower memory to deliver frames starts to go from like a constant 20 milliseconds, 20 milliseconds, 20 milliseconds to 20 milliseconds, 100 milliseconds, 30 milliseconds, 500 milliseconds, 300 milliseconds. So even though the card's rendering frames, the delivery of the frames from the slower memory is all over the place. So you get severe stutter at higher resolutions, higher AA settings, and stuff like that. And if you have SLI, people who are using Battlefield 4 to upscale, because Frostbite's really good at upscaling past your screen res to push the memory on their 970 SLI, are saying that Battlefield 4 is like unplayable past 3.5 gigs of video memory usage because it just stutters everywhere. And what's really gotten Nvidia in trouble is they advertised the card as a 4 gig card, which is technically true, but it's not 4 gigs of the GDDR5.
Technically true, the best type of true.
But there were also technical untruths. They did hand out technical specifications to certain people when the card launched last year. You know, there's some places, blogs and whatnot that do technical breakdowns. And there were things like caches and stuff marked on the cards that are literally just not there. Like, it was just bad and untrue information. There's been such an uproar this week that retailers, including Amazon and Newegg, are doing no questions asked returns on 970s that were bought in August. Nvidia is going to eat this one bad. There's a lot of uproar. Now, the thing is, if you have a 970 and you're at just like 1080p, you're probably good for like 3 years.
What's wrong?
Joel attends class but does not participate.
Oh, man.
I was expecting this. I was 100% expecting this because I was talking about this earlier at work, and Joel literally like moonwalked backwards out of the cubicle aisle, like into the darkness of the office, like backwards. Do you want to share with the class, Joel?
It won't make any sense. Oh.
Was that a James contextual joke? I'm gonna guess.
I just like how James is smiling so guiltily at the camera. He's like, yeah, I did this.
I have a goal of making Joel laugh at least once, just at random throughout the podcast, and also when he's in meetings.
Okay,
at work.
Okay, wait. I sent Jeremiah a text just a little bit ago asking him something, and so I thought it was him texting, so I quickly swiped it, and it was just this photo, and I just died immediately.
I texted you back already.
Yeah, no, I know. I saw that. I thought you were texting me again, and it was James back. Oh, man.
All right.
Okay, let me sum it up for the 970. So NVIDIA is working on a new driver that's going to change how games are allowed to access that last half gig of much slower memory. But the reality is, for 970 users, you really have a 3.5 gig card with a little bit of like buffer for extra stuff that you really can't count on. It's 4 gigs, but you can't use the last half efficiently. So that's kind of deceptive in my opinion. I don't think the driver update is going to solve the issues if you're really pushing these cards. If you're at 1080p and you're getting good use out of the card, stick with it. You'll be fine for years to come. It's a great card, probably one of, maybe even the perfect card right now for 1080p.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, but if you're like me and you're at 1440p, and especially if you were thinking about SLI, you should be pretty pissed off right now. I know I'm feeling really wronged.
You've talked about SLI a lot.
Yeah, like this was my long-term plan. Like I basically invested in this card as a two-step plan because I want those maximum settings, and I'm the exact demographic that's being screwed over here. So honestly, I haven't decided yet. If the driver update comes out and people are saying that it's going to solve the issues, I may wait for everyone to dump their cards on eBay and pick one up for like $250 and maybe just give it a shot and then sell them both. I don't think I'm going to return mine, but I've definitely thought about it.
Dave, knowing you'd go back, you'd return it and go to like a 980 or something.
See, and that's the thing. The only other option right now, I wouldn't do a 290, even though it is a great card, just because I'm so hooked on Shadowplay. I think for AMD to woo me away, it would take the 300 series, and we just don't have anything solid info-wise on that yet.
Dude, I've been using the AMD Raptor stuff, the game DVR. It works really awesome. Like, I can't tell a functional difference between it and Shadowplay, honestly. It's
okay,
great.
Well, hey, let me talk to you more about that then, because...
Yeah, and a 290, keep in mind, is pretty much identical to your card at most things, and then as soon as the resolutions start going up, in my opinion, and based on what I've seen, it pulls away. And considering how cheap you can get them, and if the heat bothers you, you can get a really cheap heat sink and pretty much fix the problem. It's pretty sweet.
Is Joel on the floor?
Now what's happening?
This is the best part about the podcast.
Is ignoring us while you guys
ignoring the technical parts and just laughing. Oh, Nvidia screwed up.
Joel, do you need a hug?
I totally agree with you, Dave, about the video card stuff. That's
the most generic participation I've ever heard. I agree with all those things that you said.
Oh, I was trying not to look at my phone. But it was so tempting. Okay.
And then last...
Now, Joel, I have a question about this for you, okay? Let's say this was the 770, which is what the card that you have.
Yeah.
Let's say that you had bought it because you have a 1440p screen. What if you learned that...
I'm sorry.
You said it, James. I'm really scared.
I just thought
James, can I ask you to shelve it just a little bit? Can we
I didn't
continue?
do anything this time.
No, I just thought of it again.
Oh, Joel, I appreciate this.
I'm sorry. Oh man, it's so funny.
I'll bring you down, Joel. Don't you worry. Stick with me. I'm gonna. How about some numbers? I'll throw some numbers at you. 290, 770, 970, 2 gigs, 4 gigs, 3.5 gigs, ROPS.
Your question about the 770. If it was my 770.
Okay. Now, you're not a huge AMD fan, right? Like, when's the last time you had an AMD card? It's been a long time, right?
2004.
Actually, about the same for me. Wow. Okay, so if this had happened with your card,
was that right before Half-Life came out?
Yep.
Nice.
Okay.
Did I tell you about the mistake I made though?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was so excited to get a new video card, and at the time we didn't really have internet, so I bought it from I think Walmart or something like that. I bought the AMD 256 megabytes of video RAM, whatever. But I made a huge mistake. I was just so excited because they always had the Half-Life 2 logos on it because you get the game with the video card or something like that. And I bought the PCI one. It was not the PCI Express, so it was slower than the AGP 8X or whatever it was at the time.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it could barely run it. I was so pissed. And I didn't realize until a month or so later after I got it. I was just put it in there. I was like, oh, I didn't even think about it. Why is it running so slow? And my buddy was like, dude, you got the PCI one. I was like, no! And
that was a tough time to buy graphics cards because there were so many different
Yeah,
different
it actually is pretty great
options.
now. We're down to just one slot option, really. I mean, everything's backwards compatible. So if you buy a 3 card and put in a 2X slot for a single card solution, you'll probably never notice. It is a good time we're living in.
So here's my question, Joel. You tossing out hypotheticals. Here's mine for you.
Yeah.
You learned that your 770 that you were planning on gaming with for a couple years at 1440p is actually going to be outclassed this year. Like GTA 5.
It's already outclassed.
But I'm not talking about just frame rate wise. I'm talking about games are going to stutter unless you put them on minimum settings. You won't
because of this memory problem.
Yeah, so it's not just you get. So let's say you'll get 40 FPS, but stuttering everywhere.
Why would it stutter on mine though?
No, we're saying, say you were in this situation, you bought a 970.
Oh, okay.
This is the hypothetical.
Sorry, I thought you were talking with the 770. My bad. Got it.
Yeah, I'm saying, imagine this was your card with this issue, okay? So you learned that Nvidia kind of fudged the numbers.
I'm probably going to get an AMD card next, actually.
Because AMD is about to drop a bomb, I think, and Nvidia gained a lot of
every year.
Nvidia gained a lot of market share last year off of this card. This was their Triumph card. They're at 70-some% market share now because of the 970. How many are being returned right now, and what is this going to do to their reputation? I've been Nvidia since about the same time as Joel, 2004, 2005. Even with Shadowplay, though, if the AMD option for recording that I do use a lot will work, at this point, I'm all about the numbers.
You've heard it here, folks.
Yeah. This is really going to hurt Nvidia, I think, and that's a good thing. We need some competition. Nvidia has gotten away with too much.
I will say. Oh,
go ahead.
I wouldn't. I'm not planning on changing just because of what Nvidia did. Honestly, I don't really care. It's more of after doing this podcast for a while, and not even from Jeremiah convincing me to buy AMD or anything like that. It's more of honestly, there's just problems on everything, so it doesn't really matter. I might as well just get something cheaper, and it's gonna have the same amount of problems as the other one. I don't even care. I mean,
that's a really dark way to look.
It is
the same amount of problems as the other
for
one.
me, I'm not doing SLI. I don't ever want to do that because I think it works like crap. It's still not. It's not stable. The nightmares I hear of Dave, they're oh, I had to unplug that, and I don't want to do that. I want to press play and play a game.
You've told me nightmares.
I'm just saying you've told me many times you I lost the game like I got to unplug the SLI. You have to redo like some setting and like disable.
You've had to play with plenty of things, Dave.
I'm just saying I don't want to have to
turn it
deal
on
with
and
that.
off occasionally.
Yeah, I don't want to have to deal with
that. I think you're in the good days of single card right now, and you're not remembering as well.
No, you definitely did a lot of resets and stuff.
Yeah, I think the rest of us remember listening to it over TeamSpeak a lot. I think maybe for you it was just like normal everyday life.
Exactly.
But for us,
for Dave,
like,
you're fine with disabling, repairing, all that kind of stuff. I don't want to deal with that.
Get my blowtorch. Apparently,
if I'm like editing in Sony Vegas and just some SLI thing screws up, I'm gonna be pissed because I'm not gonna first think, oh, it's my SLI.
Oh, well, if Vegas screws up, it's definitely
SLI
Vegas.
definitely has more issues. But I mean,
So, but I might go. I mean, I'll just let Jeremiah pick me out the next card because the only thing is I'm kind of pissed that 1440p's like I can barely run things anymore. So, because it just seems to be now just a video card, whatever. I just can't play anything very well.
In my opinion, Joel, the problem you run into is over the past couple of years, buying anything on the cutting edge has been very risky because cutting edge stuff is broken more than anything else. If you buy behind the curve, the issues have been worked out and you'll be okay. Also, running things on the highest graphics, I think, in my opinion, from what I've seen, have become way less optimized over the past couple of years, where the top end is just thrown up there, like 1440p on max settings. I don't know how much that's being optimized, if at all. I mean, for any serious optimization. It seems like, from what I've seen testing stuff with the Potato Masher, high on most games runs at like, 150% of the performance of very high and looks 90 to 95% as good. Like, it really doesn't seem like ultra graphics is really where the best stuff is. I would rather drop to high and get almost the exact same experience and just not deal with all this crap of having like the best anti-aliasing, which is broken, or the best fur rendering stuff, which is broken.
Most people don't need that. I just want that.
I think
stay right behind the curve. You'll be safer
with the 1440p. I think I just need a more overhead, for it. And I understand, but thinking about the games I played, other than Far Cry 4, I mean, it's still not working good. So
yeah,
how many months do I need to wait? I'm not waiting 8 months. That doesn't mean you got to wait that long for the game to be patched. I think that's ridiculous.
Right.
But no, I mean every other game, Battlefield 4 can't run at 1440p good. Like I can do like ultra, and it'll be like 35 mixed, and it's just wonky to play, And even going high, it's still nasty and has, I don't know. I just hate the interlaced the not having VSync on and things like that. So if it's cheaper, Joel, I'm just gonna do that.
I'd recommend for you, just drop some of your settings down. And there are certain settings, you drop them down, it gets you way more performance than others.
Mm-hmm. I do. I mess around with the settings all the time. I check it. Okay. I go from low and slowly make my way up higher to see what I can run. But no, it's either the game runs really, really well and I can run it on high, or it just doesn't run very well.
How much memory does your graphics card have? Did you get the 2 gigabyte or the 4 gigabyte?
I think he has the 2.
That might be your problem, is 1440p at 2 gigabytes might not...
Dave told me to get the Zotac one.
You might be running low on video memory because your card should be able to handle it decently well, but at 1440p, you will bump over 2 gigabytes of memory usage.
Because remember, Joel, when we built your computer, you didn't have your 1440p screen yet. You were still at 1080p.
Oh, very true. That could have been how that happened.
Zotac, GTX...
While he's looking that up, as someone who's
I got the 2 gig one.
That's it. Honestly, that's probably the stutter. The memory stutter. That's it.
Well, hold on. We don't know for sure because Far Cry is broken on a lot of computers, so I'm not ready to say that's it. But that could definitely be the issue. Is you're definitely on the edge of enough memory for 1440p, Joel. A fun experiment might be, and Dave probably isn't going to like this at all.
I'll bring my 970. I don't care.
Okay, I didn't know if you were worried about moving.
It's 2 cables. My case is right here. It has a
yeah. You can try just swapping the card. It's the same. It's the same drivers, right? You don't even need to change drivers. So it'd be a fun switch just to see. Yeah, just to check it and see if everything magically gets better. The 970 isn't that much better than the 770. It's better, but it's not like.
I've got an even greater idea.
Okay.
I sell my video card, and we use a little bit of extra bends. How we up the amount of money, and then I get the next card. Then I don't have to complain as much. That is a bonus for the.
I like where Joel's going with this. Let's buy Dave hardware too.
My last thing I'll say on this: I've had more video cards of both brands than probably anyone else on the podcast, just because I like swapping stuff back and forth and trying different things.
Because you're a whore.
And I know AMD gets a lot of hate for being unreliable and crappy drivers and stuff. And I really think that's all people still upset about all the rumors they hear about the past, because AMD has been pretty rock solid for me. The only time I've ever had issues with AMD in the past couple of years is running Crossfire. And it was the same issues Dave was having at the same time with his SLI setup. It's just some games are super broken and don't use it, or some games don't scale or whatever else. But I've got to say, man, my 290... cheaper than a 970, and I'm playing games like this is a card you can get for $230. They're on sale constantly, and I'm playing games at 4K 60 FPS all the time on like some of the highest settings. Not every single game. I can't play Far Cry 4 like to get 60 FPS. I have to turn stuff down to like medium, but it still looks gorgeous. I mean, it's not a bad looking game, and 4K doesn't hurt. But like, it's a super powerful card, and AMD has always been great at releasing tons of performance for the money. They've just never been able to compete on the highest end of the market, and that's not what they've tried to do. They've tried to be the best mid-range options, and honestly, I think they deserve a lot more credit than they get.
I think if I got an AMD card, I would go way beyond the same similar price for Nvidia. So
that's the thing. The best card they have is the 290X, and the 290, you overclock it a little bit, it's identical to a 290X, and they just don't. There isn't an option above that.
I would get a 980 equivalent of an AMD.
There isn't one because they haven't released a generation yet.
Oh,
I mean,
okay, whatever that is.
Yeah, the 290 would be the equivalent of the 780.
Okay.
But then Nvidia released their new generation.
Like that. So like if it costs $500,
what about the 295?
The 295 X2, well, it's going to run in Crossfire. So, it's going to be super fast, but you're going to have the same issues you would have running a game in Crossfire. For the money, it's nice. It comes with a liquid cooler. They're on sale for like $700 pretty often. For the money, I'd get two R9 290s and get decent coolers for them and just do that. I mean, it's going to be way cheaper. But, all right. Last bit of news. Battlefield Hardline Beta starts next week. Dave, what do you have to say about that? You excited? I'm kind of excited.
Yeah, actually, I was hoping it was this week because I was playing, like I've said on my channel this week, I was playing some Battlefield 4 by myself, and I was like, I remember, I enjoy the Battlefield series. Hey, I forgot about this. Just that, it's really hard to convince you guys to come back. It's a big install, and it's just had some rough history. So high hopes for Hardline, still sticking to my no pre-ordering. I will pay $60 on day one if it's good, but only if it's good. I'm just not taking the chance this time.
Well, you're still going to be taking a chance that like it's good for most people and is super broken on your platform. Like you never know. That's an issue we've been running into a lot this year.
Origin has that 8-hour return policy for the first week.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
So, AKA game rental service.
Yeah.
I just looked up the release dates. Battlefield is March 17th, and Bloodborne is the 24th. So
we have 1 week with
Joel. Yeah. Joel, what are you excited about this year? Can you tell us, Joel?
Bloodborne.
Oh, I hadn't heard about this.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to make any like videos of the beta, but I'll probably stream it just trying it out, so I can,
It's an open beta too.
Does it last till Saturday or Sunday?
Through Saturday, I think. Tuesday through Saturday.
We're getting back on Saturday. I will completely miss it.
That
sucks.
I realize that. That sucks.
Where are you going, Joel?
A little place called Denny World.
And you're going to be counting iPhones?
He's like on the roller coaster.
On the rides.
Pointing them out.
Yep. All right. It is now time for mail time.
Mail time.
You can write into the show at casualshenanigans@gmail.com, just like the Lanky Soldier did. Hi, Lanky Soldier in chat. He wrote in and said, hey guys, just a quick pre-podcast question. I have an R9 270 GPU, which does the job for me just fine. In case you guys are curious, that's about the equivalent of a GTX 760. Today I realized I won an XFX R9 290X GPU in a competition, and I'll be getting it soon. Nice. I will obviously replace the 270 with the new GPU, but I don't really want to sell my 270 because it's a really good card. It is a good card. Just a couple minutes ago, I checked if my motherboard can support 2 GPUs, and from the look of it, I think it can. Can I stick the new GPU into the motherboard and use both GPUs as one, or do the GPUs have to be the same ones to work together? I'll be in chat if anything comes up. Thank you, guys. Yes, your motherboard can support two GPUs. You cannot use an R9 270 with a 290. You could like maybe get away with a 290 and a 290X if you flash the 290 to 290X firmware. That's something that AMD cards are really good at. Like people were taking 7970s and running them Crossfire with 7950s because it's really the same card, just with different firmware.
Lowered the 770 to 760 or 750 or whatever it was.
Exactly. So it would be possible to do it that way, but no, you're not going to be able to run those two cards together. You can always keep your 270 as a backup or sell it. I would say I'd try your new card for a little while. XFX is not the good brand they used to be, so see if you're happy with that XFX card first. I mean, it's probably a great card, but like they're not the best brand anymore, so you might want to make sure you're totally happy with it, especially if you like your 270. But nope, can't run them in Crossfire. All right, now time for making a returning segment. What have you been playing this week? Really quick section where, for a PC gaming podcast, we don't spend a whole lot of time talking about the games we're actually playing. So we're just going to go around in a circle and just talk about what have you been playing for the last week or so. And this doesn't have to be like a super detailed thing. We're just curious to hear like what's really capturing your attention right now.
Maybe so the game in one line about it.
Yeah, Joel, what are you doing lately?
Mostly Last of Us. John and I have been broing it up in Last of Us. That game is. Up. Yeah, I'd love for you to play some more, dude. Get into it.
I'd love for you to let me know when you're playing. So.
We do have an email address, guys, that it's okay to use for consoles too. You know, it's okay.
No, it's a lot of fun. And then I've been playing Alien Isolation. I told Dave I'm at a part that like there's no way he's gonna get through the game. I mean, it could be like 3 years from now when he gets this part, but this part is definitely the freakiest part of the whole game. And I'm just like, and I have no flamethrower ammo or anything, and it's just ridiculous.
I'm gonna beat it. 2015 Alien Isolation. Somehow it's gonna happen.
All right, we'll see. What are you playing, Dave?
I started Shadows of Mordor last night. Awesome game, loving the combat. Looks really good at 1440p on the 970. Although my memory is approaching that limit. I discovered the screenshot tool though, so I might not finish the game. I might just take screenshots forever. What else am I playing? After a short break, after the Neptune Spear mission, I'm back into the ARMA 3 editor. I've gotten a lot faster. Next mission is taking me about probably 6 or 7 days to do like the whole thing, like just working on it here and there. So
cool. Yeah. James?
I really haven't played much this week. The only thing I played a little bit of H1Z1.
How are you liking it so far? You've probably played it more than I have at this point.
It's I like it. I mean, it's fun. There are things I like about between that and DayZ. Some things I like a little better in that game, like the atmospheric sounds are pretty cool.
Sounds awesome.
And hopefully they get the positional stuff a little better tweaked soon. Like, literally, if someone's outside running, it sounds like they're right next to you. It's kind of freaky. Yeah. And the other thing, the crafting's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty easy to figure out. Like, once you figure out how the system works, it's definitely a lot more fun. I think even more fun than Rust. It's just very smooth. I like that.
And I've eaten lots of berries.
Everyone has. And then I've been playing Tropico 5, and I'm getting back into Far Cry 4 now. I'm actually trying to punch my way through it. I'm only like 5 hours in, but I'm enjoying it a lot. I just need to like make time to play.
It's a great game.
It is a great game. Really I always have so many things I could be doing. It's hard for me to sit down and go, nope, I'm just playing this now, especially now that I'm trying to adjust my bedtime to be more reasonable hours. And then I'm reading the last 3 Witcher books so I can play through the 2 games again in preparation for The Witcher 3. So I'm trying to hit like
Are you going to try to just not do the side quests so you can get through it?
I do all the side quests that come up naturally, but I don't go hunting them down unless I need something they can give me. In all games I've been like that. Like in Oblivion and Skyrim, I was never like trying to do every single side quest just because it never ends. Like I want to experience the main story. I don't want it to be so far in between story quests that I forget what's going on. So I do whatever looks good, but I don't make a point to. But I'm trying to hit like 100 pages a night so I can get the books knocked out of the way pretty quick. So we'll see how that works. But yeah, that's what we're playing. And in chat, people are talking about a lot of people playing H1Z1, someone playing World of Tanks, and Debbie is pimping out H1Z1 as much as possible. And someone in chat really doesn't like H1Z1. Entertaining comment there. All right, it is now time for the Singularity Shame segment, section of the podcast named after Singularity 80 in chat, where we find someone who really needs to be knocked down a peg and talk about something douchey they've been doing recently. Go for it, Dave.
So, there's a new Need for Speed game coming to EA Mobile Games.
I love Need for... Oh, coming to what?
Wait, can you handle this, Jeremiah? It's not just Need for Speed, dude. This is Need for Speed No Limits. No limits.
No, but right.
Except, well, all right. One limit, you got to pay for gasoline with real money. But That's the only limit. Well, there's also an in-game store with gold that you can get for unlocks and stuff. But other than that, no limits.
Did they make you sit at the pump?
How is this any different than all the rest of the apps, though? It's no different.
Joel, you don't think that's like one of the dumbest things you ever heard? It makes you pay for gas.
There's a zillion apps that all do that. Like, if
and Gran Turismo doesn't make you pay for gas.
This is an iPhone game, though.
Yes.
That's why it's free to play.
It's
dumb.
The scummy,
it's
the scummy type of free to play. It's the scummy free to play.
Yeah, it's the scummy. It's like there's a little rocket jet car one.
We're not saying that the other apps and games that do this are okay. We're saying that in this particular case, the name of the game combined with the component of paying for gasoline in a racing game is just the perfect storm of ridiculousness.
They're trading on a well-known and somewhat respected IP. I don't know how respected Need for Speed is anymore, but they're trading on a well-known IP to just slog out. It's the same junkware that there's already 5,000 racing games that are pretty much just like this. This just has the Need for Speed name on it. I've played a couple of the other Need for Speed mobile games, and they're all crap. They're garbage. I mean, they're not even fun for a phone game. They're just garbage. But again, that's my opinion. So yeah, that's the Singularity Shame segment. It is now time for something I am very excited about. 90 seconds with Joel, a part of the podcast where honestly I have no idea what wild card has in store for us this night. But it should be pretty good.
I feel like we should play the Shaft theme here.
All right. Oh man, my hands are like just shaking today. I cannot get warm. I don't know why. Like I turned the heat up and everything.
Because you're nervous because you're about to share something really personal with us.
No, I'm never nervous about that. Never nervous when I'm with you, Jeremiah. You treat me right.
You're damn straight.
Okay, I thought. Okay. Jeremiah kind of guessed this, but I think he guessed part of it. But anyways, so it was like last week. I was like, I think I need to go to the doctor to get something checked out, right? So
that's your opening line.
Yeah. You know what? I'm providing a little bit of entertainment here, okay? So, all right. So, yeah, I felt like I was kicked in the nuts for a couple days, and I was like, this is not right.
I know what's coming. Phrasing.
You weren't totally correct. So
No. I think I've just guessed it, but I'm going to be quiet.
No, anyway, so I was like, this is it. I was just getting headaches and not feeling so good, and I kind of just felt like nauseous a little bit. So anyways, I went to the doctor, and I'm sitting there waiting for a while, and every single person in this waiting room was over 70 years old. And I'm like, I was sitting there thinking, did I text you, James? I said something like, oh my gosh. Like, I was like, and I'm dying. I'm going to die today.
It's a sign. They're all Grim Reapers.
So anyways, yeah, well, people like hobbling out. Like, after like, thank you, come again. It was just like hobbling out.
We will. We're old.
See you tomorrow.
They're punching their cards on the way out.
No, so I go back. I had to do the whole good old pee test. That was fun. I haven't done that since I was like 12.
Do you not do physicals and stuff?
No. Do you do them often?
Yeah.
Your health insurance pays for a physical like once a year, Joel.
Do you guys do it once every year?
I haven't had one in like 5 years. My wife keeps telling me to go.
I don't know. I haven't had to. So.
I'm stubborn.
Okay. So anyways.
It's a man thing.
Apparently, good bill of health, completely healthy. It's just something random, just like a random infection will happen. And it would just go. And so they gave me some antibiotics. But here's the funny part, right? So I'm sitting in this little back room. The nurse got in and she's like, the doctor will be in just a few minutes. So it's about maybe a 10-minute wait. I'm just sitting there. And this pops into my head, right? I'm like, what the heck? I should be like nervous, like, oh, like what's happened? Like, I hope it's gonna be okay, you know? Because I was kind of in pain, right?
The chat's like, is Joel pregnant?
There's a baby in Joel's nuts. Oh no, so.
Bloodborne Don't look at chat. Just keep going with the story. Don't read chat.
Okay.
Amazing.
Okay, so anyways, I'm sitting there, and this pops in my head. Like, before anything else, I'm like, you know what? If I have literally cancer of the dick, I'm gonna not tell anyone and just randomly splurt it out on the podcast. Like, like you guys are all happy. I'm like, guys, I've got cancer of the dick, and just to see what would happen. And I'm like, what am I thinking? Why is this? I'm not gonna be scared or nervous. No, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna use this on the
first
podcast.
thing you're thinking is they're gonna feel bad.
Yeah, exactly.
This is gonna be more some PC versus Mac discussion. You're gonna be backed into a corner and be like, yeah, well, maybe I can't tell the difference because I have dick cancer.
Like, I was gonna wait for like Jeremiah to be like really mean to me or talking about PC Mac stuff, and I'm like, just whip that card out.
You'd be pretty excited though to actually get some growth down there.
Zing. James, I saw the wheels turning for the last few minutes. You're like, here we go.
Oh no, I've got.
No, so yeah, that was okay. And then the second really funny thing. Must be a special person. So I'm sitting there waiting, and the doctor is Mr. Green. And he comes in, super nice guy, older, he's like maybe 62 or something like that. He's been around the block. He's seen some stuff. But super nice, learned some interesting facts I didn't think I was going to learn. But the best part is he was just like talking about the symptoms, and I was like, he's like, oh, that's just classic signs of whatever. A lot of like long-term things. And anyways, it was just funny the way he's like, oh, there's a classic. I was just like, it sounds like we were just sitting there drinking sweet tea, like the weather's gonna brew and it's gonna be bad, like a storm's gonna happen. And it was just fun. It was so weird. And then he just kept on slapping the word penis all over the place, just left and right. And I'm just sitting there. And he was just like willy nilly. I planned this.
All right,
Joel just heard her phrase correctly, guys. It's a new day.
It was just so funny. I told my wife as soon as I got home, I was like, that was the first story I had to tell her. I was like, Joy, I felt like a stupid like 10-year-old kid, just like, he said penis, and I was trying not to laugh so hard because he was just like, and then what you got on the tip of the penis, and I was just like, I'm like gonna laugh, and just like right when he's being all nice and serious and trying to help me out, I'm just like,
That's the hardest thing about being an adult is you never reach that point where like dick jokes stop being funny. Like you're just not supposed to laugh anymore.
Basically, I'll be fine. I'm supposed to take antibiotics for 2 weeks, which is kind of hell for me because I can't swallow pills to save my life. It takes me 2 entire water bottles to down.
Crush them up. Snort them.
Yeah, well...
Joel, I also pointed out to you,
insert the pill into the anus.
Well, I didn't know that. I'm not
Joel did not know that you could put pills anywhere else but your mouth.
I know, we had
He
this
also
talk
didn't know that
online.
you could just ask for liquid at the pharmacy. Like, hey, can I get that in liquid? Oh, yeah, sure. You want bubblegum or grape? Done.
Wait, Dave, so they're just crushing your pills up and putting them in like a children's drink and giving them to you?
It's delicious.
Because Dave also doesn't like swallowing pills.
Just doesn't seem natural.
Hey, he says, and also these you're not supposed to crush. At least they said.
Yeah, don't
Ben,
crush
I'm obviously
pills.
kidding. Ben.
Don't crush pills.
Ben, I was not... Ben, there was obviously a joke. Joel was never seriously going to crush the pills up and snort them like Coke.
Actually, I was kind of believing you. I wasn't going to snort them. I
Ben
thought you
works
mean like crush them up
in
like...
the medical field, so he takes this way too seriously.
and thank you, Ben, for the whole cancer thing. Yeah. It was just...
Thanks for giving me cancer, man.
It's the most treatable form. It's the most treatable form. So I wasn't too worried, and I guess maybe that's why like my second like immediate thought was like I am totally going to make the guys feel bad. But yeah, no.
I'm not kidding. Hold on, let me finish typing. I would. Like, if I had something terrible happen to me, I would totally try to think of the best way to, like, lord it over you guys. Not everybody. That's a dick thing to do. But, my good friends. You want to whip it out at the best possible time to be able to just wave it over them. So,
yeah. I'll
definitely keep that in mind.
But it was funny because you totally got it the other night. I was like, we're on the same wavelength. Yeah, but I'm trying to remember what the exact name of it is, but it's kind of like
erectile dysfunction.
No, like basically like a
urinary tract
infection.
Yeah, basically it's like that. It's a little bit different. It's not that bad, so I'm already feeling a lot better today than just the last couple of days. It's been going away, so I'm very happy.
I have other questions I want to ask you, but I'm not going to do them on the air because it's probably slightly too personal. But I'm glad you're going to be okay.
Well, I have a comment that I will not name the name of who said the comment, But they asked if that's why you were looking at your crotch a lot during the last podcast.
No, I was actually texting my composer guy.
That's yeah. Can you give everyone a quick Norman update? People have been asking, since it was supposed to come out of early access.
What a segue!
I'm trying. Speaking of testicular cancer, let's talk about Norman. I'm getting ready to put out another video before we leave, actually, this weekend, about working on the music that we recorded for the movie and stuff. So, of which one song we probably won't be using, but it's still pretty cool. Although I might possibly use it for one sequence, but we'll see. But yeah, my brother recorded us at his wife's parents' house, and they have an amazing house. He's got an awesome room, just like all tricked out for sound and everything, like $1,000 speakers. He's got 5 of them, 5.1. It's amazing. If you're an audiophile person, it's like absolutely silent in there. But yeah, we used 4 mics. We all recorded separately, and it was funny because I'm sitting over in the corner with headphones on, and the saxophonist guy who's playing, who's also going to be doing the sexy sax track for Norman, he's playing, but we had to all record separately because he only has a few mics. So the music's piped, like the drum track's pumped in my ears, and Pierce has the track in his ears as well. And I'm sitting here like we're just kind of making up as we go, but I'm sitting here kind of fake air drumming to kind of give him like timing when things happen and when fills happen, stuff like that. It was just fun. It was a lot of fun, but it sounds awesome.
Joel, for people who aren't familiar with the sexy sax edition of Norman, can you describe that briefly? Because it's just a fantastic idea.
At the end of the Kickstarter, I mean, we're kind of running out of ideas for like little perks and rewards and stuff like that. And I mentioned to Pierce at the time, who was going to compose the music, he actually stepped down because he said go with the other composer that offered to do it. But he's going to lay down a sexy sax track that's going to replace the entire soundtrack as like an alternate commentary on the Blu-ray for anyone who bought it during Kickstarter. So you could just switch it on, and the only music is just going to be this sexy, smooth sax, like through the whole movie. So battle scenes and everything is just going to be sax. I can't wait for it. It's going to be awesome.
I think it's going to be pretty fantastic.
How would you describe the tracks that you guys recorded?
Sure. It's like jazzy stuff. We had to do a really slow
freeform jazz fusion.
We had to do. I put a link out so you can listen to 3 of the songs and stuff.
Hey Joel, is your address on that Bandcamp?
Dude, you can see my address on the Kickstarter. I'm not worried.
All right.
I don't think it is. It's just I don't believe it is.
Yep, it's got your exact city where you live right on your Bandcamp page.
Oh, I don't care.
It's not about you all the time.
They're going to find it. They can find it through Facebook, through everything else.
I'm banning Joel from chat right now. I'm banning him from chat.
I'm so scared. Dude, people can't do any, like, you're going to try to rate me? I'm like, I already have testicular cancer, so what do you...
The point's not you, Joel. You're not the only one here. Never mind. All right. I supported you with your medical problems, so I don't want to hear about it. All right. It's now time for the comment of the week, a part of the podcast where usually Joel reads off the dumb Total War comments that Dave gets. This week, we actually have a comment that was left on one of my videos.
Which video was it, Jeremiah?
Big surprise. It was left on the Potato Masher, which is still getting fantastically stupid comments on it on a very regular basis. So, yeah, this is left by Bunny Hallow. Joel, try to read this exactly as it's written, no do-overs. I know it looks like it's pretty normal, but just try to make it all the way through.
Please stop suggesting this 400 console killers, which are mediocre builds, do shit, resell value, and a much shittier ROI when it comes to playing newer games due to developer consolitis. Also take account the performance to power consumption. A mid to enthusiast consumer grade gaming build, which goes around 500 to 700, are a much better option and can pretty much brute force consolitis through its gen cycle. Always take account developer consolitis.
The grammar. Oh gosh.
Okay, this is someone trying to sound intelligent.
Yeah, consolitis is real bad. Apparently, I don't really know much about it, but
you mean the consoles that now share architecture with the PC? I don't.
Oh well, Ultra Grunts put something in chat. Everyone needs to go look at right now. Joel, if you're not clicking that Imager link in Twitch chat, you're missing out.
I saw it.
It's how the infection starts.
It looks like an apple. It looks like an old chewed up apple core.
Gross.
All right. Well, that's pretty much the podcast, guys. Thank you for coming out. As always, you can write into casualshenanigans@gmail.com, tweet at casualshenaniga, at Germ Gaming, at Evil Viking. You can follow us on YouTube, etc., etc., etc. And you can come and play Insurgency with us on the Casual Shenanigans Insurgency server. You can find it anytime, even when we're not on, at Casual Shenanigans Gaming. Just search in the Insurgency server browser. It should pop right up. And yeah, thank you everyone for coming out. Does anyone have any parting thoughts before we go?
I will.
Yes, Joe.
Only because it frustrates me a little bit.
Okay.
You know how I have these weird things where I'm like, okay, I like seeing where iPhones are. I'm really into like social aspects of things, not like like Facebook or that kind of stuff, but like I like knowing what makes people tick. Like that's why I asked, like, why would Ben do that? I just like I like finding those reasons. I mean, that's why I make films. That's why I'm always trying to get into like different characters, like what would they say? And I don't know, I enjoy that. Been listening to the podcast Serial, all about like this murder that basically doesn't make a lot of sense, and they're trying to figure out who. It's interesting, and so I want to know, do you guys have any freaking other ticks? Like, because I mean, you guys can laugh at me for all these little weird things I do, but I'm like, I'm sure you guys have odd things too, but you just don't talk about them.
I gave you my stalker confessional.
Well, I'm not talking about just that. Like anything, like maybe in the real world, I guess. Like not just game world
I definitely do. Way too long to talk about at this point in the podcast, but yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe yours is that you don't want to try things that you've never tried before because you just don't want to. Like
what? Like
guacamole?
Is this the guacamole discussion again? No, that's not it. But
we're all very special snowflakes in our own special snowflakey ways.
If we want to have the confession
but you've got
cast,
more crystals than all of us,
where we all just sit down and dump all over the stream, no one will watch it, but we can do that if you want to.
Therapy cast.
Feelings.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know.
We'll wait till we're all in person so we can burn
I guess I was
candles
just curious, like, am I just that weird?
No, Joel. That's just something that
I say things quick and like,
right.
It's not that I'm not thinking about it. It's I'm going, oh, that's awesome. I want to spit that out right now.
Joel, you just have the thinnest filter of all of us.
Yeah, you're an unfiltered cigarette, Joel. You burn stronger than all of us.
Joel, I would be pretty similar to you in just blurting stuff out, except for I'm trying to be host-like. Like if someone else was running this podcast, I would just, if I wasn't like, didn't have 3 monitors packed full of things I was trying to keep straight at all at the same time, I'd be yelling out stupid crap all the time. More than
slap a seal.
That was one time. But that's. Yeah, everyone's got their own weird stuff, Joel. There's nothing wrong with you except for the penis thing. But but no, everyone's got stuff that really bothers them and doesn't bother other people.
Heard that one.
John just keeps calling them penis pills. Then he called them something like your problem penis pills, and like he's just gonna keep telling that to everyone. I'm like, well, I don't have a problem, guys.
If you want to talk about funny medical problems, I've got some good stuff. We can have that talk one day.
Oh, I don't even know if I should say this. Oh man, I texted John. He was like, what the F? And then he just died laughing while I'm waiting in the doctor's office. I was like, okay, if I'm gonna have to get a physical.
Joel, you text John a lot and really weird times.
Say it faster, please. What did you send him when you were in the doctor's office?
I was just wondering, I'm like, I wonder, like, am I going to get, like, a physical exam? And I remember thinking back the first time I had one, right, as a kid, and I was, like, kind of nervous. I'm like, what if I get, like, a lady and then something happens? Like, I'm going to be so awkward, you know? Like, whoop, I'm going to be awkward now. but then I thought, this time, I'm like, what if it's a guy? And then that happens. I'd be like, And then I just told John, because we're apparently extremely gay, as I was like, well, what if I was just like, hey, and like, what you see? And like, would the guy like be like, you know, you can't act like this and just walk out the door? Or would he have to still do everything? Would he just be like, all right, I'll just
You'll only do what your insurance will pay for, Joel.
I'll give you a hint, Joel. If you do the sound effect at the same time, you might get asked to leave.
See, Joel, again, you gotta remember, you are technically an adult when it comes to like being tried for things.
I know.
Okay. Even though I know you look like a 17-year-old and you have the mind of maybe a 12-year-old who's really good at some other stuff, but they will try you as an adult.
It could have
He
been.
makes films like a man. He makes films like a man, okay?
There it is.
Don't think about it.
Look, he pushes out some really good work.
Can somebody else host next week? Because I like Jeremiah Unfiltered too.
Yeah, someone else will host. I'll drink a bunch. It'll be really fun.
I don't know why. It's for me. It's like almost because it's like a weird like. How are they going to respond to this? I think it's just funny because it's kind of be like, oh, well, crap. What do you have to do? It's like okay, I'm a doctor. I gotta still go through with this. It's going to be awkward. Like, would they just be like, I'm leaving? But I was like, I'm okay.
Keep getting
Joel,
more
honestly,
awkward
they've probably seen things so horrible that would like scar your soul.
Oh, I
so
bet
like
so,
probably they'd be
yeah.
like, oh yeah, someone's just making penis jokes again. Big deal.
Yeah.
Like they're probably used to stuff that would like ruin your entire year. So yeah, you could probably get away with it. I doubt there's much you can say to a medical professional. They're not just be like, yep, all right, take your pants off, get on the table.
The scariest part was the guy was just like, well, was there like some kind of bumper thing specific? And I was like, honestly, like I'm kind of like so nervous, like I don't even know, like I don't even know it's normal. Like it's like you just don't think about it until it happens. And the guy said he's like, you know what? That's a great sign because usually people just rush right in here going, right here, doctor, right here, you know. So I was just like, all right, I guess
test me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, people are literally burst open like right here. Whoop,
stick needles in me.
I'm in a bathrobe.
I hate going to the doctor's office. Like I've had a 1-inch gash to the skull on the back of my head, and I didn't go get stitches. I was like, nope, it'll scab. It did. Thank you very much. Like I've had the only time I've ever been to the hospital for an actual medical problem was when I had Lyme's disease.
Oh,
like
man.
that's because like half my face froze up and like I was drooling and stuff. And my mom actually made the decision. She was like, yeah, someone should probably take a look at this. But yeah, I'm the exact opposite of that guy. Like a lot of people are like that. They'll rush in for any little problem. And that's one of the reasons our healthcare system is so screwed up. But yeah, I'm the exact opposite. Like I could probably be on fire and bleeding from the wound as it's burning. And I'd be like, yeah, you know, it'll go out.
The fire will
he's the one who
cauterize
told
the
you to
wound.
crush up your pills.
Snort them. Or just remember, rub them on your gums. We gave you all these great, all this great advice on the Casual
You could
Conversation.
also heat it up in a spoon.
Yeah. Oh, no. Stop listening, kids. The Graybeard's going to teach you about life. Wait, James, be honest. Do you not like James the Gray? I didn't go with James the Gray just because of the fact that you have gray in your beard. Because I have gray. I've got a lot of gray hair, too. I went with it because, like Gandalf the Grey, like you're the elder statesman providing wisdom, though. You're the voice of wisdom and reason, and you have a deep voice, and you command respect.
You shall not pass.
Ooh. Hey, wait, we should have a part of the podcast where James just reads stuff that people send into him in his deep, sexy voice.
Hey, Dave, James, you should do your scream. You should do that scream.
That scream.
I'm just going to leave it with no context, and that's it.
Do you have a special scream?
What's your special scream, James?
Well, you'll find out one day.
All right. All right. So, anyway, thanks for coming out to the podcast, everybody. Joel, since you've been the most distracting tonight, why don't you do all the ending stuff this week?
Okay. Well, don't forget to subscribe, to tell your friends about this podcast if you like it. Yeah, spread the word. Spread the word of Casual Shenanigans. I was spreading the word today when I recorded the other thing, and people were like, sweet, I'm going to check it out. So maybe we'll have some new people. I think it's Casual Shenaniga. That's the Twitter handle.
That is.
Nice.
So that. You can write in at casualshenanigans@gmail.com.
Yes, you can.
Write some stuff. I'd love to read mail that's from you. And then, do we have a Facebook channel?
We do not.
Okay, we don't. You guys just use your lame channels. Okay, got it.
Correct.
Yeah, I think that's about it. So don't forget to stay casual, and we'll see you guys later. Casually slap cancer in the face.
Oh my.
See you guys.